approach runway 26 left. Now vector to the paddock port and induce landing runways runway 26 left for large aircraft and runway 26 right for light aircraft.
Sorry. Okay.
Sweet. Well, it's just you and me today, pal.
Yeah, man. It's actually
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's sometimes a bit easier just the two of us having a candid conversation and
Yeah, well, I think that's what today's all about. There's not a huge amount of news around, actually.
no.
So we'll have a bit of a chat, a few things to talk about. I do enjoy having the guest. It's nice to, particularly the type of guest we've had on.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with young Leon last week. He was terrific, actually.
Yeah, no, look, he's quite a dynamic young dude. He's obviously got a very bright future ahead of him if he carries on with
Yeah.
that sort of
Mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's a good act. So
But all
But-
our guests, Jared.
Jerry spoke so well, actually.
Yeah,
Justin
everyone.
was good. Yeah, it's nice. It brings a new dynamic to the show, and
Yeah.
we can have a bit of a chat. I'm not like a big fan of an interview style.
No.
So I like it if someone comes in and they're just part of the team.
That's the thing. I mean, there's enough podcasts out there already that are doing interviews. I mean, we're not about that.
No,
We're just here to
Yeah.
shoot the breeze.
shoot the breeze, one of the team. Yeah, so it's a crack of sparrows here in Joburg this morning. Normally do the show in the afternoon, but what's the story, cuz?
ESCOM.
Yep,
Yeah.
ESCOM, thanks.
So where we at now? Stage 4. So that means we get load shed, about 3 or 4 times a day for 3 or 4 hours at a shot.
So if it goes off today,
Yeah, it's not us.
it's not us. We've got about an hour to fit this in. It's just ludicrous. I mean, we're at Denell. It's a national key point. Not supposed to get load shedding, but
No.
we've been getting it. It's not good.
It's like we were saying just before we kicked off now, as if things aren't complicated enough, you got to deal with this, and it's bullshit. But anyway,
Anyway, let's not start off on a overly negative note.
you had a lacquer weekend,
I did.
huh?
I did. Should we chat about it now?
Let's do it. Tell me, what was it like to get your paws on the good old 700 again, man?
It was really nice, eh? It was really nice. I put the video on YouTube yesterday, and the response from it's been really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ian Findlay invited me along. They were doing a functional test flight on November Bravo Fox before it goes. Where's it going? Tucson, I think.
I believe so.
Yeah. And so he invited me along, and I sort of fully expected to be sitting in the jump seat. And Ian did what he needed to do, and then he said, "Right, your turn." So I sat in there, and then I fully expected to do a steep turn or two, and then let Ian back in. But Ian said, no, carry on and do the approach and landing. So lucky I had Bill next to me. He was battering me down a bit. It's amazing, though. You know what's going on. You know the aeroplane well. You've flown it a lot, but you just like that sort of 1 second behind the game. You're not dangerous or anything, but you don't flow as nicely in the flight deck.
Yeah, it's that sort of flying fitness.
Yeah.
We used to see that when we had, periods of lots of flying and then periods when you didn't fly so much. Yeah, it takes you a while to get back into the being ahead of the airplane, I guess.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was obviously a real happy day. It was chuffed, but it was also quite an emotional sort of day as well.
I'm sure.
I'm not just for me personally, but I must say there were a lot of our ex-colleagues in my thoughts that day, and I walked down the aisle there, and I thought of some of the old cabin crew members, and just happy times. And a lot of them have come across difficulties or difficult times the last sort of 2 years, and so from that perspective, a little bit sad. And then of course knowing that I'm not going to fly that plane again,
Yeah.
also sad.
Shucks, man. Yeah, so yeah, a very nostalgic sort of day for you, I'm sure. But the smiles on that on the pictures and the videos said it all.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is mega sad because the 700 by far my favorite airplane. Thoroughly enjoyed that machine.
It's a stunning aircraft, a great plane, and nice to also to fly it one more time with Ian and Bill. So
Cool.
no,
man.
it was great. It got me thinking though. Sometimes a little flight like that is not everyone can go and jump in a CRJ 700 and take it for a flip, but there's not much stopping you going to hire an aircraft and fly down the coast of Durban or something like that. I know it might sound far-fetched, but I was chatting to Justin yesterday. My dad and I are going off to Durban sometime next month for our medical, and then Jarvis jumped up and said, "Hey, let's check what the weather's like and I'll fly you guys down,"
Oh yeah.
So it's like sometimes you need to think out the box a little bit, but then Justin obviously in the middle of his comm, so not a bad idea.
Yeah, look, he could use the trip for our building, which is great for him.
Yeah. But
Very cool.
it was a hell of a nice experience. Thank you everyone involved for allowing me to do that. It was great. If you want to check out that the full video, it is available on YouTube. Some special mentions to a few people this week. I just picked up on Facebook yesterday. I see Scott Seabrook got signed out on the E-Jet at Airlink. I saw a
That's
picture of him
awesome.
on so well done, Scott. That's great. Al Macaulay got his Canadian.
ATP.
Yeah.
Yeah. That, like you said, wasn't the easiest of exercises.
No,
but
sure.
Shame, yeah, he's quite chuffed to have that in hand now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be so keen on redoing my ATP. It's a hell of a lot of work involved.
Yeah, exactly.
So, no, well done, Al. That's great stuff. And supporter of our show, Sean Mendes, he is the recipient of the Aviators African Tower Award as a visionary in African aviation. So Sean's a massive asset to African aviation.
Yeah.
And a visionary is almost like too weak of a word. I think he's a hell of a dynamic, and so well done to Sean.
Awesome. Congrats, man.
Yeah, what's been happening locally here?
Well, obviously, Mango's been in the news a little bit this week.
A little bit hard to make heads or tails of what's happening there.
I was actually wondering about them the other day because it's been kind of quiet with them, and obviously they haven't started flying yet since they stopped at the end of July. Latest news is that some 300 staff, I think, have been asked to take voluntary severance packages.
Yep.
So yeah, obviously all part of the whole business rescue process, I guess. But yeah, it would be nice to get one of the guys from Mango to have a chat with us again and just sort of give us some more deets on what's actually going on.
Yeah, maybe Jordan will come chat to us again.
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak, on rather than try and speculate, because I don't know. So, in some aspects, it all just looks like more of the same, like we've seen that movie before.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't want to.
But on the other hand, it's a very different time now, so things are starting to pick up, and maybe these severance packages are more of this is what the BRPs need to be able to present a decent plan going forward.
Yeah.
But then you got to have people that actually volunteer to take those packages.
Yeah.
Or do what they did at SAA, just take the package and then go back and become a manager.
Exactly. Yeah, it seems to be working for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, shucks. Again, strongs to all our friends at Mango. I mean, I know guys like Sean Purvis and all that are, desperate to get back at the controls area, judging by some of his social media posts. So yeah, not easy times for them, and hope it takes a turn soon.
But a lot of Airlink aircraft, a lot of Safair aircraft, so more of the same. My mom is flying up to Johannesburg today on a Safair flight, and when I tried to check her in yesterday, that seemed rather chock-block full. So good news there.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. A lot of what I picked up, Brian, was about our South African adjusted level 1 travel restrictions, what we can, can't do, and all that. So I think maybe let's just clarify so that anyone looking at traveling here locally knows what's going on. So an airline operator is allowed to provide pre-packaged catering on board the aircraft, but must take all measures. So that goes without saying. You may now take your complimentary magazine off the aircraft, but you have to pick it up entering the aircraft. So I don't think they leave it in the thing anymore. You're not allowed to share the magazine, obviously. International travel, traveler must provide a valid negative COVID-19 test outcome recognized by the WHO. So not those ones you buy on the side of Louis Vuitton. And then they must be obtained no more than 72 hours before your date of travel.
Oh.
So that's all sort of much the same.
Okay. Just on the magazines thing, it made me wonder now, like, who still reads magazines? Why don't they just email you a magazine when you purchase your ticket and you can read it with your iPad, and then it takes care of all that rubbish complication?
Because I had to check my mom in yesterday.
Okay. I suppose, yeah. Not everybody's at that level of...
Look, there's such a... This is a real topic of conversation that we must go down at some point. Don't you feel like the things have moved quite fast in the sort of tech space, like you could call it, and then you end up with... You could possibly end up with a generation that is... You're literally unable to do a lot of the basic functions you need. Take travel as an example. I mean, traveling's got quite complicated.
Yeah,
it's got quite complicated. I mean, let's go into it now with the UK. I picked this up now. So obviously now going to the UK, we don't have to quarantine anymore.
Yeah, what a pleasure.
What a pleasure. So while no quarantine is required, there's no need to provide a proof of a negative COVID test either prior to a departure. But vaccinated travellers from South Africa must book a travel test package prior to travel to be tested on or before day 2 after arrival.
Okay, cool. So selling it like as a package deal.
You get like I assume you get a pack with a test in it. That's what I understand from this. I might be wrong. Maybe if I am, let me know.
Okay.
But and then you have to within 2 days there you go and you get tested. It doesn't. It didn't say what happens if you test positive there. Then I assume you go into another one of the quarantine stories.
Okay.
Let's face it, traveling right now there's a few extra steps involved. But at least the UK is open.
Look, those extra steps are just something that we're going to have to get used to.
They had to stay.
And, but, yeah, I don't think it's going to stop people from traveling, nevertheless. You know, you can certainly see it in the charter market. Tourists are busting at the seams to get here. So,
where are they going, the tourist game farms?
Yeah, the majority, majority game farms in and around South and Southern Africa. And yeah, like I think a large portion of the tourists are also heading to Cape Town.
Yeah.
You know, there seems to be this desire to be in Cape Town and the bush, and then maybe a little bit up to Vic Falls, places like that.
Even Sun City was packed the other day. Had Sun City's picked up quite a lot. The game farms around there, the area as well. So it is happening. There's no doubt about it. Passengers are keen to come. So that's great news. We can fly to the States as well.
Yes, on United and Delta, I think.
Yeah, I think, Yeah,
so awesome.
That's good news. Thanks, Joe. Here at Samara this week, we have got a few classes going on. Things are picking up. Flight training is picking up. We're asking a question today because one of the news articles I've got here, this was out of Bloomberg, and it goes and we talk about pilot shortages. There's a big talk about pilot shortages. And my question I'm asking is this like a clickbait title? You read this thing and it's got these wonderful stats and what you'll need by 2030 and all sorts of things. But is it real, Ryan? Are we in a situation now where there's a definite pilot shortage either here right now or looming around the world? And if so, I mean, at what point are the opportunities going to open up for, as an example, South Africans? These pilot shortage stories have been around forever. I mean, 10 years ago when we started at SAC, so there's going to be a big shortage, and we never really saw it. I mean, we weren't exactly headhunted to say, come and fly. But is it going to happen? Is it so severe that they're literally going to open up opportunities for South Africans to move overseas and go and operate a decent aircraft at a decent airline with a decent future?
Man, it's something that I think we've been asking each other for a long, long time, and we've spoken about it a few times over the past. But pilot shortage, remember, they're basing a lot of these assumptions on aircraft orders and what the airlines are saying, that how they're going to expand all their plans, and so it's basically predictions. So to a certain degree, I think it's a bit of clickbait. A couple of months ago, it was obviously a lot of flight schools trying to encourage pilots to start flying, doing training, because I think there was a bit of a scare that guys might look at this and say, no ways am I going into flying for a career, based on what's happened with COVID. But man,
and the flight schools are busy.
They are busy. So I think, a sort of long-winded answer to this is, yes, there will be a pilot shortage of sorts. Probably not to the scale that they're talking about. But, man, you can really see it. Emirates are advertising for...
I'm interested to know that Emirates, they let so many pilots go.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the pilots that let go are not going back?
Probably not all of them. I think a fair portion of the guys that were let go have decided no ways. They're not going to go down that route again. I don't know. I'd probably say about 50% of the guys maybe won't go back. A few guys that have come to Samira to do training in the last couple of months that were ex-Emirates have said
they're not going back.
A lot of guys said that they will go back.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, I think it's a 50-50 split. But Emirates aren't the only one. There's, the Middle East, I think, is going to have the biggest need for pilots, the way I see it. Obviously, the States are opening up, lots of jobs opening up that side. So
the States is on a different level. The particularly on the regional aircraft there. So it's really busy. So Emirates, that's obviously a key. A lot of South Africans were there. I assume a lot of them. I think there's still an element of having to pack up your home and move your family back to South Africa. A lot of guys that did that had actually financially immigrated in the first place. So the rigmarole to get back here, open new accounts, sort stuff out with SARS and whatnot, I assume couldn't have been an easy task.
No.
And I wonder how many of those guys were, burnt by that and not really too keen to go back.
It's a weird thing, man. While we're talking about this, my aunt came and visited us here at Samiro, 2 days ago. And she was with SAA. Then she was one of the crew that took a package and ended up flying at Singapore mainline for a couple of years on the A350. And then obviously last year got sent packing. So she's back here in SA. But something she said while we were in conversation actually struck a chord, because she said to me, she also doesn't know if she's going to go back to it or not.
Yeah.
But the truth is, flying is an addiction.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me realize that if you're in a position now where you were let go and you've tried certain things and tried to go down different avenues, but it hasn't worked out, that flying bug's still going to be there. So it probably will end up resulting in a lot of guys going back.
Yeah.
Albeit, that they have to make those sacrifices. I don't know. It's a tricky one.
I can vouch for that flying bug, though, because once you go and...
I saw it on your face when you flew on Saturday.
It's sort of like the place you've meant to be. You spend most of your life... You can't just write it off, It's there. We're incredibly lucky here. We're still in the aviation environment, so I've got no desire to go and fly for a big airline. Got a nice job here, enjoy what we do on the podcast, and probably wouldn't be able to do this, well, definitely wouldn't be able to do what we're doing now at a big airline. That would be an absolute no-no. I mean, we've seen that from our guests.
Yeah.
A lot of them not, able to come on because they're tied to an airline. They're too scared they will say something, which is totally understandable. But I certainly wouldn't want to give this up. And but we are in the airline environment, so it's unfair to say I'm not going to go back and fly because we're in this environment.
I know that's what, you know, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. I was saying, for us, it's totally different. We're still in it, you know, every day. So we're very, very fortunate, and I love that. We've also taken the path less traveled with this podcast. Not everybody can pick up a microphone and start a podcast and then do sort of as well as we have with it.
We at the beginning, it was a challenge. But you know what worked out nice for us at the beginning there was everyone was in this sort of challenge mindset. Everyone was trying something new. And I think we were lucky there. We started at a time where there was a bit of like a leeway and forgiveness in being so crap. Thanks, Duncan, for your message the other day saying you guys weren't. But
I really appreciate that.
But let's carry on with the pilot shortage stuff. A380s are back, so BA is bringing back 5 of its 12. That's mainly due to the lifting of restrictions of vaccinated packs on the transatlantic routes. In November, the aircraft will fly short ops in Europe before returning to Dubai, Dallas, LA, and Miami. And Qantas also reactivating 2 of its A380s. Qatar reluctantly bringing back theirs. That's only because their A350s are still sidelined with their paint issues. I saw one, the 350 parked on the apron, was it yesterday? So there are a few around, but their CEO is not a fan of the 380. He's lambasted that aircraft. But so they brought them back. But Emirates, obviously, by far the biggest operator. So its last 2 A380s came off the production line and it's just returned to Toulouse after being outfitted in Hamburg. So they're still getting them in, which is cool to see.
Yeah, I think, I don't think Emirates have the intention of scrapping the A380 idea altogether. They're going to use that airplane.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hence the getting back to the pilot shortage thing, it's going to create opportunities, and ultimately, I think it will lead to the need for more pilots. Because let's face it, you got guys now that need jobs and will take anything that comes their way. You got guys that have jobs but are still looking for the next best opportunity.
Yeah.
So there's going to be this flow of.
You know what I noticed as well? When you take an aviation job, an airline job, you obviously bound by seniority, so you spend a couple of years there, and you have to really weigh it up. Should I leave now to go to another airline and start at the bottom of the list? And a lot of times it doesn't make sense. And it's a little bit luck of the draw. I mean, let's face it, look at South Africa. Go back a few years, SAX, Airlink, SAA, Mango, whatever it is. I mean, most of the guys just applied everywhere. Hey, Comair gave me a call, right? I'll go for an interview with Glenn at Comair and hope I get into Comair. If you do, you stay there for a while. I mean, but now, don't you find there's a little bit of an element where the guys that always wanted to do fly business jets, corporate, but couldn't because they were high in seniority at an airline, they're looking at this as an opportunity now to shift within the industry.
Yeah.
So those guys now looking for those corporate jobs, or vice versa, guys trying to get into airlines. So everyone is sort of maybe taking a new path within the industry. It's not necessarily a case of getting out of the industry.
No, true story.
Quite an amazing thing when I was sort of researching this 380. The biggest shift, they say, this is China now. Compared to 2019, the A380, the way they use it on domestic routes there, short-hop domestic routes there. So the way they operate it, unlike anywhere else in the world. But China's international travel is down 97% on 2 years ago.
It's crazy.
I read that twice just to make sure I don't spew bullshit to everyone this morning. 97%.
Yes, that's insane.
I don't. Maybe I don't know. I'm a little bit reluctant to go into it too deep unless someone picks up. No, but that was a figure for this. But that's what I picked up.
Heavy.
Yeah, heavy, crazy.
But Yeah, you mentioned the A380 on short flights. I see Singapore doing that now on their hour-long sectors, but that's more of a because they want to reintroduce it into the fleet. They're doing all these shakedown flights because they've been in shortage. So yeah, you're probably going to see a lot of 380s doing these short little hops while they work out all the bugs.
Singapore, they opening the travel lane with Australia and Switzerland as well.
Yeah.
So that's nice. That's done. And coming into Africa, let's have a look here. What happens? Ethiopian, they are going to start using the MAX again. That's 32 months since the crash.
Wow.
To be honest, I never thought they would use them again.
Yeah, I always had an idea that they would give them back.
Doesn't seem like an amazing branding exercise. Yeah. The entire TAG Angola Airlines board got dismissed in the latest restructuring effort.
Wow.
That's a real African headline, isn't it?
What else?
What else? Yeah, Mauritian government holdings is now the majority shareholder of Air Mauritius. That's good. Air Mauritius, in and out of the news, lots of dodgy stuff.
Yeah.
Hasn't been the best, but they need an airline. There's no doubt about that. So they do have a majority shareholder now, and that is the state, basically. Speaking of beautiful holiday destinations, Ryan, Sudan's aviation authority has suspended all flights until October the 30th.
Yeah, I thought you were going to hit me with like something like, let's start planning family holidays to the Amalfi Coast or something like that. Sudan. No, I spent enough time there in my life. And,
I'll give that one a skip.
Yeah, the fact that they closed the airport's probably doing the world a favor.
Yeah. Have you been following what's happening with Air India, Tata, and Indigo?
Sort of on and off.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's
so there's two powerhouses now in India. So Indigo, obviously, for a while has been the sort of the flagship carrier, but Air India, Tata now, it's these airlines are big, Ryan. I mean, Indigo, obviously, it's a no-frills airline. They've got a fleet of 275 aircraft, domestic market share of 58%. And they operate 71 domestic destinations and 24 international destinations. So a massive airline.
Yeah.
Its fleet comprises of Airbus aircraft, big Airbus carrier. Air India Tata, the fleet size of Air India Tata is expected to be more than 215 aircraft. Combined domestic market share may go up to 25%, and 100 domestic destinations and 60 international destinations. Its fleet likely to comprise a mix of wide and narrow body aircraft. So two big powerhouses that are going to be operating in India for a long time to come.
Cool, man. Yeah, we must keep an eye on it.
It's an interesting market. I'm quite keen on that market because it moves so fast. Did you see Elon Musk's net worth?
Man. Hey?
Going to be a trillionaire, that guy.
Yeah, well, he's not far off the mark. And what do they say? The one headline I came across was he's got enough money now to sort of sort South Africa's debts out twice.
Yeah.
And then still be like a... Hey?
Yeah.
Elon
quite
for
amazing.
I'm going to vote for him on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're forgot about that. If you've got a thumb fetish, watch Facebook on Monday. You're going to get those. Don't you get the little mark on your thumb?
Oh, jeepers. Yeah. All those...
I voted. You're going to have a circle around your profile picture.
I'd forgotten how corny things get. Things like this. Jeez.
Yeah. It's been 20 years since Apple announced the upcoming release of its iconic iPod.
Crazy.
Did you have one of those original ones?
I did.
I bought one of those. I was doing a DC-9 rating in Miami at the old Pan Am facility. And I didn't even know what it was. I just knew that I had to have one. But my dad had said, "Do you mind if I splurge on the credit card to buy one of these iPods?" What is it? You got 1,000 songs in your pocket. I said, how the hell does that work?
Yeah.
But I thought that was quite cool news. Another iconic brand within aviation, Breitling. How do you pronounce it?
Breitling. Yeah.
They've got a big stake in, some buyers have bought a big stake in that company, looking to make it even bigger.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, look, that's still something on my to-get list one day is a proper Breitling watch.
Are you ready to do your first Bryan Air Advisory?
I am.
Go.
Cool. Well, listen, yeah, it's kind of a bit of a different one this week. If you haven't already seen it on Netflix, I would strongly encourage you to go and watch the Drive to Survive Formula One series on Netflix if you've got nothing else to watch. Sunday I had one of those days where I was just like, decided to be lazy and just switch off the rest of the world, and I was looking for something to check out on Netflix, and I came across this. It's probably been out for a while now. I ended up binge watching all 3 seasons in one day. I loved it, man.
Yeah.
It kind of just got me sort of back into being excited about Formula One, and the series itself is quite cool in that they go into the real behind the scenes things of the drivers.
It's not the normal footage.
No.
And I don't know what camera they're using.
It's ridiculous.
But I want one.
Yeah. I mean, the footage and the stories and everything about Formula One is just phenomenal. So yeah, if you're looking for something to watch, I'd reckon give that a squiz. But ultimately, it ended up I ended up listening to a few podcasts following that. Checking out some of these very influential people around Formula One. Lawrence Stroll, Christian Horner, the one you recommended, that High Performance Teams podcast.
Yeah.
Man, and I couldn't help but realizing or thinking about it that these Formula One CEOs or team principals or whatever, their job is no different to that of an airline CEO at the moment.
Yeah.
These guys, the challenges they face,
and they're right in the public eye.
Exactly. It's more compounded, and I just it's something that I think I'm going to pay a lot more attention to, because it's exciting, especially these individuals. We've spoken in the past about paying attention to highly effective.
You can learn a lot by the way they do things
from these guys. They've got a lot of good advice and principles that they follow. And
I mean, the Formula One teams are being used in other sports. I mean, Mercedes are involved with one of the America's Cup sailing teams, and so they actually spread their expertise around, and it's quite remarkable. The Formula One at the pinnacle of technology, also at the pinnacle of the way business and that is run.
Exactly. So
you can learn a lot from it. But talking about that drive to survive, I mean, that is all part. I mean, exactly what you said. You watched it because it was there, and it's now brought you into Formula One. And that Liberty group that's got involved with Formula One, that was part of their mandate. Get people involved again, and that Netflix series was a big part of that. So I agree with you.
No, just I mean, I've always enjoyed Formula One, but I lost a bit of interest in about 2014. Remember they changed the engines and the cars all of a sudden went quiet.
Yeah.
So this got me back into it,
and what a season we got now.
Hey man, it's exciting now. I can't
wait.
wait.
Who are you supporting?
Look, I've always been a Ferrari man at heart, but I think
Max Verstappen.
No, look, there's no way. As far as the driver goes, Verstappen's got my vote.
Yeah,
but
Verstappen.
I'm leaning
I even
towards
got an orange watch strap.
I'd love to see Verstappen in a Mercedes.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my advisory, and check it out. It's worth binge watching.
No, that's a good one. I concur with that. Staying a little bit tech, we've got a new sponsor on the show. We'll go into it a bit more detail in a few weeks' time, but a good friend of ours, someone we've worked with for a long time, an absolute genius of a guy. We've gone into a bit of a JV with Pierre Duran. He's got what he calls the Flight Sim Shop.
Yeah.
So details will be in the show notes. And Pierre set us up a computer system here at Simero. We've got 3 monitors. We've got i7
It's actually an i9.
R9 running a very sharp graphics card, and what we got, X-Plane 11 on there.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It is awesome. When I can't find Ryan in the office, I tend to find him in the X-Plane room.
All for X-Plane development.
Yeah, all for R&D. What did you call it? So it's an awesome, a really awesome setup that we use for training. Now you don't have to go the full hog like we've got there, but I've always wanted a nice setup. But I simply do not know enough about PCs and gaming to set something like that up. And I think a lot of people in the same boat. They want a nice aviation setup at home. People inquire, there's a big disconnect. People sometimes, they don't understand what a simulator costs. They don't understand even what an FNPT2 costs.
Yeah.
And they get shocked when you tell them. But this setup is very usable. It's very usable for training. It's very usable for your procedural training, radials, inbound, outbound, overhead, the beacon, all that sort of stuff. I'll tell you what, if I had that when I was doing my comm, it would have made life a hell of a lot easier.
Oh, yeah.
But talking about that bug biting, it's a really cool thing just to jump in there and actually go and fly. And the community, the online community with this virtual flying is massive.
Yes.
You can't believe. I mean, there are guys that fly the aircraft from Johannesburg to Heathrow in real time at night. They get real time ATC. There's actual ATC guys that use X-Planes to sort of practice on.
If you're connected to the internet,
Yep.
you've got real time weather that gets
Real time
uploaded.
weather, the whole lot. It's a remarkable thing.
There's even virtual aerobatics teams. There's a virtual Silver Falcons team. I don't know if you've seen these guys, but it's ballistic. It's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whatever you want, it's there. So what Pierre does is the one-stop shop, really. You tell them how much you're willing to spend and what if you want. I think you can do it with an i9 and i7 and even what's the other, r5.
Yeah, look, I think Pierre's got an awesome setup there. He's got the ability to set you up basically as per your budget.
Yeah.
You will get a decent computer nevertheless. So if you want to spend 100 grand, you can spend 100 grand. If you want to spend 15 or
30,
20, whatever,
20, yeah.
He can really customize your setup and give you something top quality, depending on your budget. And either which way. So, and it's upgradable.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what's nice about it. It's upgradable, and so if you are looking for that one stop, you want someone to sort it out for you. I wouldn't know where to start, to be honest. Something like that, and I'd like something like that at home, and I know a lot of people would. You can get hold of us, or you can get hold of Pierre, and tell him your budget, tell him what you want. He sets you up, and you've got a nice little simulator there at home that you can use for a bit of fun, or you can use for a bit of practice before your IF renewal and whatnot. Like Ryan says, upgradable, so you can fly it like that for a couple of years. When X-Plane 12 comes out, then upload the new one.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's a definite little tip there as well.
Yeah.
Nice with you and me on the show again.
It's been cool today.
It's been cool.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. We've been lucky with the electricity has stayed on. We're stressing a little bit. Obviously, the setup in the morning takes a bit of time, so we're trying to rush getting everything going and make sure we fit within Eskom's window. Their on-time performance with turning the lights off is incredible. I mean, they rival Airlink in their on-time performance. When it comes to turning them back on, however,
that's a moving target. Yeah.
So we needed to fit this in. It's been a hell of a week. We're nearing that time of the year. Like, we can see it with training where airlines are trying to fit their training in, and now we're dealing with all this stuff. So it's been a hell of a nightmare. Everyone else involved, or everyone else that sent me messages through the week, thank you so much. Really do appreciate your support, and please carry on. Contact us anytime. LinkedIn probably the best place. Shoot us a DM, and we'll get back to you. If you picked up anything we said that you want to add on, then please as well do that. More than happy to get that going.
Absolutely.
Ryan,
guys,
have a good weekend. Everyone, keep the blue side up from our side. Goodbye for now.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.